Garbage. Hello everybody, Healthy Prepper here, contemplating what to do with all the trash after a long-term SHTF event. So, after contemplating this for a little while, I thought to myself, you know, after an SHT event, say it's a grid down event or some long-term event, trash and garbage is going to pile up like crazy really fast. Even though new supplies are not coming in, we still have all the packaging, wrappers, containers, and all the normal junk that goes in our normal trash can, and all this stuff is going to keep building up. Obviously, the garbage man is no longer coming, and we are faced with a pile of stuff. What are we going to do with it? Well, here's some ideas, and I would love to hear your thoughts on the matter too. First of all, make as little trash as possible. And what I mean by this is look for alternative uses for your trash. Is it a possible fuel source? Could it be burned? Could it be combusted? I have a video on taking old newspapers, wetting them and rolling them up in the shapes of logs and letting them air dry, and then you can use them as fuel for your fire. It's not the cleanest burning fuel, but hey, this is a post-SHTF event we're talking about here. And if you're worried about the smoke getting onto your food or chemicals getting onto your food, always cook in an enclosed container, i.e. a pot with a lid on it. Also, stand away from the smoke so you don't end up inhaling all those chemicals. All right, so there's going to be a lot of things that can be burned, obviously. But before you jump to burning, or the other option is burying, before you jump to burying your trash, let's think about salvaging what you can. You're going to have a lot of plastics, you know, twist ties, plastic bags, things like that. You got to remember, what are you going to do with these things if you may never see another one of them? So a boring old plastic bag back in our heyday of times now is not very exciting, and we toss them out without batting an eye. But after an SHTF scenario, a plastic bag can become a very vital tote bag, you know, carrying device. It can be a liner. It can, you know, do a myriad of things. So you may want to consider saving the plastic bags. Now, obviously, if you're in an area that has easy access to water, you're going to want to wash these things out so that you don't attract rodents and pests and things like that. Other plastic containers, food containers, things like that, if you can wash them and salvage them, even if you don't know what the use is going to be for immediately, it's better to just stack them up somewhere and save them, because you might all of a sudden have a use in an SHTF scenario that maybe you or somebody else may have thought about, but that idea has not come about yet immediately. But don't throw away a resource unless you're absolutely sure you're not going to need that resource anymore. Now, the same thing goes for food waste. Now you think there isn't going to be any food waste in an SHTF scenario. Well, you know, you may have banana peels or something that's not digestible by humans, but certain other food waste might be digestible by chickens or goats or rabbits, something like that. You know, you'd have to know what you were giving them, and if they could digest it. But just remember that any type of food scrap that a human isn't eating, possibly some of our farm animals could eat if we're homesteading, or you might have pigs or something like that. Never know what goes in the old pig slop. So keep those in mind. And also, you know, burying is not a bad idea to get rid of some things that must be gotten rid of. Let's just say there's something that's just so nasty and it's covered in stuff and you can't clean it. Water, you can't risk losing the water, and it's just got to be buried because it's attracting flies and insects and animals and disease, and it's just going to be bad unless it goes underground. Well, the thing is, you want to bury it deep enough so that other animals don't come along and dig it back up and drag it around your property. And also think about the labor and the man hours it's going to take to dig these trash pits. Definitely something to think about. Somebody out there may have an idea if you can sprinkle Like, let's say there was a pool in the neighborhood that was empty, and everybody decided to use that as a trash pit, and people started chucking their garbage in there. Can you layer lime dust, if you have that, over it to help reduce the amount of, odor and flies and things like that? I don't know. Or maybe layers of soil, something like that, where you're layering it and getting rid of it and burying it that way. Or you could just bury it in the ground, the old shovel method. But again, a lot of labor. And remember, every time you're expending energy, you have to refuel yourself, which also makes you create more garbage because you're dealing with more wrappers and cans and things like that. So you don't want to create a self-perpetuating cycle. You want to reduce the amount of overall trash you have to almost nothing. And once you get it down to almost nothing, then you really got to decide what you're going to burn and what you're going to bury. And obviously, if you're in a cold environment, you may lean a little bit more towards burning because you need it for a fuel source. And that may outweigh having something sit on a bunch of shelves for a while you're waiting to try and find a use for it. So think about the trash situation. I did have an opportunity in my life. I went to Haiti once, and the trash was not being picked up in Port-au-Prince. And I saw what I would call trash mountains at the end, in the main downtown streets, at the end of everybody's driveway, or along the streets where the stores would normally put their garbage and the people would put their garbage. There were mountains of trash. So obviously this can happen very quickly, and people will do this because they're so used to doing this. This is where we put the trash, there it goes. Even if nobody comes to pick it up, they're going to, out of old habit, plunk it there. And it's going to attract pests and rodents, and it's going to smell really bad and going to cause a problem. So think about this ahead of time. I'm sure there are a lot of other great ideas out there to handle trash. Please feel free to share them. We're definitely curious here, and would love to hear what options are out there. So let's think about the garbage of it all and what we can do about it now, or at least have it in our plan, so in case that day ever comes, we know where to put the trash. Thanks a lot, folks. Happy and healthy prepping.